I fix my eyes on Christ. I fix my eyes on Christ.
Hey, welcome to another episode of Colton's Reviews, where I like to review Bibles, books, and other theology-related things. Today is a little bit of a different episode, given that it is New Year's Eve tonight, and we're starting a new year, and many of us are thinking about how we're going to approach reading the Bible in the new year. And we're thinking about, what that method is going to look like for us, how we're going to go about doing that. For some of you, it may be like you've struggled to read through the Bible and that's your goal. For some of you, it might just be, this year I want to just pace myself differently and read a few books at a time. However, whatever your goal, I want to show you what I'm doing, and maybe you can take some things from this that will be helpful to you. Now, I want to do a disclaimer up front that just because this is the method I'm using, I am in no way saying that this is a superior method to something you might be trying this year at all. Okay, this is just my personal way that I do my daily devotions. Some of that, actually this year, I'm trying something new myself to some degree. So I just want to kind of go through and show you what my devotional time is going to look like this year, including, what Bible I'm going to use for my daily readings and other tools that go along with that. As always, the disclaimer is out there that if you hear noise in the background, it is my children. So just keep that in mind. I'm a father, and this is at my home when I'm not at work is the only time I get to film, and I don't exactly have a super quiet place to do that. So my apologies. All right, so let's begin. The first thing I like to do is pray and try and get in a spirit of prayer and needing the Lord's help to understand His Word, needing the Spirit to discern spiritual things, as Scripture says. And sometimes my heart is just a little cold towards prayer. And so I found a good tool for me that I often go to whenever I'm struggling to pray is the Valley of Vision. This edition I'm actually going to review on the channel later. This is a goatskin edition that was a gift from a dear pastor friend of mine. But I use this, which if you don't know what it is, it's a collection of prayers from Puritans and other pastors throughout history. I read those prayers and use that to stir my heart to pray. I don't just read those prayers and say, yeah, I prayed. I use them, read them, and then I try to pray on my own. So I use the Valley of Vision all the time. That part of my routine is not changing. So now let's get into the Bible I'll be using. And this year for my reading, I'm using the Thomas Nelson New King James and the Brown Goatskin, the Premier Collection. And this one is the center column reference edition, which I have reviewed on the channel. I just really like this layout quite a bit. And this is, I want to read through the New King James. And so this is my Bible of choice for the year that I will be putting through its paces. I am a Bible marker upper, so I will be underlining passages, making notes in what little margins there are. That's just me. So that's how I'm going to approach this. The Bible reading plan I'm doing this year is actually the Ligonier Bible in a Year plan. There's no dogma out there that says to be a good Christian that you have to read through the Bible in its entirety every year. That's not the point. The point of reading the Word is communing with God and seeking His face and wanting to know Him more. So I'm doing a read-through. I tend to do read-throughs, and honestly, I read ahead. It's just my personal pace. So I tend to actually finish a plan before the year is up and then do some other things after that. But this is my Bible that I'm going to be using, and I'm going to be reading through it with the Ligonier 1-year plan. So that's the Bible I'm going to be using. Now I want to talk to you about one other tool that I use, and that's typically a journal. I love to journal the Word and write down my thoughts about it. So a couple of tools that I use that I want to just point out. Maybe you've heard of these journals and the pens that I'm going to show you. Maybe you haven't. Either way, this is what I use. I use the Leuchtturm, I think that's how you say it, Leuchtturm 1917 journals in the A5 size with a dot grid. You can get these on Amazon. You can get them at Barnes & Noble. There are a few stores that sell them. It's a really nice journal with, I like the dot grid with I think it's 80 GSM paper, which is really decent thick paper that can take most pens without bleed through. The pages are numbered. It has a table of contents. It's just really nice, a nice journal to write in. And as far as pens go, this is another level of nerddom that is a part of who I am. I enjoy fountain pens. So this is a cheaper fountain pen that I actually really like. It's the TWSBI Eco, and it's a piston fill pen, so you can fill this whole body up with ink here. I think right now I have Diamine Oxblood in this, which is one of my favorite crimson red inks. And this one is a medium nib. I like this pen a lot. I do have some nicer pens, but for the purpose of this video, I just want to show I prefer to use fountain pens. And the reason that is I just find it to be a more pleasurable writing experience. And if I'm going to be spending the time journaling, I want my instrument that I'm writing with to be something I enjoy using. If you don't enjoy fountain pens, that's fine. Some people hate them. They just, they're too messy, they're too high maintenance or whatever. I enjoy them. So those are the two tools there that I'm going to be using. Now, what I'm changing this year, a big part of what I'm changing in my method this year is my journaling method. I am trying something new called the HEAR method, which was developed by a pastor named Robbie Gallaty. I don't know a ton about him. I know he's connected to the CSB translation and Lifeway and stuff like that in some ways. But so this is not an endorsement per se of him, other than the fact that I think his method that he's developed for reading the Word and journaling about it is pretty awesome. And so what the HEAR method is break down that acronym HEAR, HEAR. So H is highlight, and that's where you just pick a passage out that you want to focus on, a verse, couple of verses, whatever, and write that down. And then the E is explain, and that's where you just kind of go in and write what's happening around the passage, the context, those things to get your brain working towards, okay, what did I just read and why does this verse stand out and what's going on around it? The A is probably one of the most important parts for our daily lives, and that's apply. That's where we apply the text to our daily life. We take their context and we build a bridge across to us and see how does God's Word speak to me in my context, knowing what I know about its original intent and the author's intent. So we do that, and then the R is respond, and that's where you journal out your prayer in response to the Lord. And I'll show you, I've messed with it a little bit this year, so I can show you kind of what it looks like. I have a journal cover that I put my Leuchtturms in. My brother-in-law is a leather worker, and he made this for me. It's awesome. It's got a pen loop and things like that. So this is my Leuchtturm journal that I've been doing this year, and here's a quick look at the HEAR method the way I've been doing it. And I just kind of wrote the acronym out and boxed it out here, HEAR, and then did each section. So yeah, I've really, just from messing with it, have really enjoyed doing it just these last couple of weeks after I found out about it. And I'm going to be pressing into that this year. I wanted to update you guys and kind of share with you of what I'm going to be doing devotionally this year. We're also seeking to plant a church this year. So I'm going to be a busy guy. And, if you guys are interested in hearing more about, church planning and that process, I'm happy to do that. For the most part, this channel is meant to be just kind of a theology nerd, Bible nerd channel. But nonetheless, be happy to do that. And if you happen to live in the South Fort Worth, Texas area and are interested in being a part of something like that, let me know. Maybe we can connect and see what the Lord does. So anyway, that's going to do it for this video, guys. I really appreciate you watching and taking the time to watch my content. It has been a blessing to see the channel grow over this year as it has. And I look forward to bringing you more stuff in the future. All the things I mentioned here today, I will put in links for them in the description. If you're interested in purchasing any of these things or looking into, the method that I talked about, things like that. And as always, please, if you're watching this video and you're not subscribed, please give me a like and a subscribe. That would be super helpful. I would greatly appreciate it, as I'm trying to bring content to you guys that is meaningful and helpful, and it just helps get it out there. So thank you so much for watching, guys. I'll see y'all in the next video.